Hello, I'm Sarah Luca. I'm an interpreter here at Delaware State Park. We're at our mainland office at Grassdale, and we're going to be showing you today what the upper class Victorian ladies wore. They have a lot of layers, and we're going to be having my assistant Caitlin, the lovely Caitlin here, putting that on piece by piece to show you what goes into all that, because there's a lot. So she's starting out here in the very base layers. She has a chemise, which is almost like a nightgown of sorts. She has drawers, stockings, and she already has her shoes on. Because when you go to put on the corset, which is next, it gets a little bit difficult to bend, so it would be difficult to put the shoes on later. So here is the corset that Caitlin is going to put on now. Here you go. So this is a little bit different than the modern corsets that you may have seen or be familiar with. This one is more for stability and support. It gives you good posture, not so much to give you a really tiny waist as some of the modern costuming corsets are. All right, and now that she's done with that, we have the first petticoat. This is an under petticoat that is more for modesty than anything else. All right, here you go. Now, this fancy contraption here is called a cage crinoline. This is very similar to a hoop skirt, just a different style. It gives you the same effect. A hoop skirt is basically a petticoat with the band sewn in. This is the skeleton of one, which is why it's called a cage. It's literally just the cage, as you can see. So in previous years, like the 1840s or so, we're portraying the 1860s right now. But the previous years, the 1840s, to get the volume of the dresses, you'd have to wear lots and lots of petticoats. So it got to be very bulky and very heavy. So to overcome that, they ended up just making these steel bands, this frame, and you just put one petticoat over top that later to cover the frame. She's going to pin that in place now, so you can change the size of it. A lot of these either have drawstrings or pins. Now here's the over petticoat, which will just smooth out the shape of this for when she goes to put the dress on next. So if you're keeping count of the layers, there's a lot so far, and we're still not done. All right, we are finally on to the dress. So the dress that Caitlin's going to be wearing today is a summer weight dress. So this is more of a sheer, but there's so many layers underneath, and there's also the bodice in here, so you can't actually see through it, but it gives you a very nice lightweight fabric for summertime on the island where Fort Delaware is located, which gets very humid. The fabric is a Swiss dot, so it's got a little bit of texture. You can't really see it, but it's got a nice little raised dot, which makes it more fancy. This is a typical dress that you would see maybe an officer's wife wearing at the fort. Officers were able to bring their families out there, the Union officers, if they were stationed there. So this would be something normal for you to see an upper-class female wearing out there during the day. She has a lot of hooks and eyes that she has to fasten in the front, which take a little while. The next part that goes on after this is a belt. A lot of times you'll see them either made out of ribbon, sometimes fabric, a little bit less common like the one we have today, usually with a metal buckle in the middle as well. We don't have that one today, unfortunately, and then usually a brooch as well at the top. And then tiny hooks and eyes on the sleeve too. Do you want me to get that? Of course. Where is it? Ah. This is why it's helpful to have a servant to dress you. All right, and here is the belt. Hold that, please. Thank you. Oops, I did not do that right. And then last but not least, if you're going outside, it's very important to have a nice bonnet to wear to cover your head, to give it shade from the sun. So if Caitlin were going out today, she would have a nice bonnet like this one to wear, which also matches her dress conveniently enough. So give them a twirl, show them what it looks like all the way around. Very nice, thank you. Thank you folks for joining us at Fort Delaware today. We hope you enjoyed our video that talked a little bit more about what goes into the outfit of a Victorian era lady. Enjoy.